Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Harihi Om Shuklam Bharadaram Vishnum Sashivarnam Chaturbhujam Prasanna Dhyayet Sarva Vighnopashantaye Gurur Brahma Gurur Vishnu Gurur Devo Maheshwaraha Gurur Sakshat Param Brahma Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Gurave Sarvalokanam Vishaje Bhavaroginam Nitaye Sarva Vidyanam Shri Dakshinamurtaye Namaha Shruti Smriti Purananam Alayam Karunalayam Namami Bhagavatpada Shankaram Lokashankaram Apara Karuna Sindhum Jnanadam Shantarupinam Sri Chandrasekharendra Gurum Pranamami Mudanvaham Sadguru Charanarvindabhyam Namaha Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Harihi Om. In Vivekachudamani, the teacher has started explaining about Atman. We have seen elaborately what is Anatma, that is, what is not Atma. There he explained the three types of Sharira, the Sthula Sharira, the Sukshma Sharira, and the Karana Sharira. We have to remember that those all of the three things are not the Atman. Then who really is the Atman? That is what here the teacher is explaining to the Sishya. He is explaining Atman through different ways. Atman is very hard to explain. If somebody asks you, tell me about a banana, we can go on and on and on, give lectures about the qualities of banana, or the easiest thing is just show them a banana. That is the easiest and the most efficient way of explaining a banana. But unfortunately, Atman is not like a banana where the Guru can show an object and then say, this is the Atman. Because Atman is our own self. So the teacher cannot do that. So the teacher has to give a lot of examples. The teacher has to explain Atman in a very peculiar way so that the Sishya can understand. So the first point that Acharya says was Atman is Shariratraya Vilakshana, that which is not the three bodies, but that which can be obtained through all the three bodies, which is common in between all the three bodies, which is like the LCM of the Sthula, Sukshma and Karana Sharira is called as Atman. That is what the Acharya says in the first thing. How can you give me an example? Yes, I can. It is like the relationship between gold and the ornaments. We have different ornaments. We have a chain, we have a ring, we have an earring, we have a number of ornaments. But what is that one thing which is common throughout all the ornaments? That is called as gold. And Atman can be compared to that of gold. Atman can be compared to gold, and all the bodies can be compared to all the ornaments. Then so let us probe this even more, because there is a very important thing to be understood. If we study about the relationship between the gold and the ornaments, we can derive many corollaries. Now we are going to study the relationship between gold and the ornaments. We can give a lot of examples. I am giving gold examples because a lot of people like to have gold, a lot of people want to have gold. So that is why we have chosen this example. Okay, what are all the corollaries that we can say? We can say gold is not a part, product, or property of the ornaments. Gold is not a part of the ornament. That is, if I take golden ring, I cannot say only this part of the ring is gold and this part of the ring is ornament. We cannot say. Gold is present throughout the ornament, so it is not a part of the ornament. Gold is not product of the ornament as well. In fact, ornaments are the product of the gold, but gold is not the product of the ornament. And more importantly, gold is not a property of the ornament. The shape is the property of the ornament. But gold, the material cause of the ornament, it is not the property of the ornament. That is point number one. Point number two, gold is an independent entity that pervades and enlivens the ornament. Gold is an independent entity. Each and every word here is important. What is meant by independent entity? If we take the ornaments, ornament depends on the gold for its existence. If gold is not there, then the ornament is not there. If gold is there, then the ornament can be there. So gold, ornament depends on the gold for its existence. But gold does not depend on the ornament for its existence. Gold can be existing independent of all the ornaments, right? So that is why we say gold is an independent entity that pervades the ornament. In a golden ring, you cannot have even a micrometer space which is not gold. So gold pervades the entire ornaments, and ornaments are valuable because of gold. That is why we say gold enlivens the ornament. Point number three, gold is not limited by the boundaries of the ornament. How to understand that? If a ring is of certain size, the gold block can exist, even bigger blocks. And from the blocks, we make something, we take something and then we make as an ornament. But just because ornament has got a certain size does not mean gold is limited to the size of the ornament. So gold is not limited by the boundaries of the ornament. And thank God, gold continues to exist even after the destruction of the ornaments. I have a bangle. I have a golden bangle. I bought it for 250 milligrams or 250 grams. 250 grams is too much. Maybe like 50 grams of ornaments I have. And all the 50 grams of ornaments are broken. I cannot wear that bangle in my hand. I cannot wear that chain around my neck. But do we worry? We don't worry because the value of that ornament is value of the gold. I go to a shop and then I give the gold. He is going to weigh it and then he is going to give me exactly the same amount of money that the gold, that is the value of the gold. So gold continues to exist even after the destruction of the ornaments. And finally, after the destruction of the ornament, if like a gold block, the remaining gold, that is gold minus ornament, a golden block, the raw material gold is not available for transaction in the showroom. You go to a golden showroom, you see lot of chain, lot of rings, lot of all the golden ornaments. What is that we don't see? We don't see a lump of gold. Maybe they will have golden coin, golden biscuits, that is there, but they won't have the lump of gold, not because the lump of gold is absent, but because gold is not there in a presentable form. That is why in a golden shop, in a jewelry shop, we don't see an odd shaped gold. Now we have to replace gold with Atman and ornaments with body, because that is what we said. Gold is like the Atman, and different ornaments are like different body. Now we are going to see all the points that is true for Atman as well. Atman is not a part, product, or the property of the body. Because why do we say? Some people say Atman is present only in the heart. Consciousness. I'm going to use Atman, consciousness interchangeably. Scientists say consciousness is only present in the brain. But Atman is not a part of the body. Atman is present everywhere in the body. And some people say consciousness came after the matter. All the matter are the Sharira. All the matter is made up of Panchabhutas. And science, even now science says consciousness is the property of the matter. That's what science currently says, but Shastra does not accept that. Shastra says the otherwise. Matter is the property of the consciousness. Matter is the product of the consciousness. That is what Shastra says. Science says, okay, previously you have a bunch of chemicals, and those bunch of chemicals came together in a certain way, and consciousness evolved, says science. But no, Shastra says, Atmana Akashas Sambhutaha Akashad Vayuhu Vayoragnihi Agrerapaha Abhyah Prithvi Prithvyavoshadayaha, goes on Taittiriya Upanishad. So Atman existed first, and all the matter are the product of the Atman. And again, Atman is also not the property of the body. Atman is an independent entity that pervades and enlivens the body. Atman exists all of the body. In fact, Atman exists everywhere in this universe. It pervades the universe. Ishavashyam idagum sarvam yatkincha jagatyam jagat, says Ishavasya Upanishad. In Purusha Suktam, Purushamevedam sarvam yadbhutam yachabhavyam yacchakinchit jagat sarvam drishyate shruyate piva antarbahishcha tat sarvam vyapya narayana sthitaha yacchakinchit jagat sarvam yat cha kinchit jagat sarvam drishyate shruyate piva. Whatever the thing that you see in this universe, you see, you hear, you interact. Yes, yacchakinchit jagat sarvam drishyate shruyate piva antarbahishcha tat sarvam vyapya narayana. Narayana, the Atman, vyapya, pervades, antarbahishcha yat sarvam, the inside and the outside of the entire universe. So Atman is an independent entity that pervades and enlivens the body. And more importantly, Atman is not limited by the boundaries of the body. Atman is not limited by the limitations of the body, because boundaries of the body means what? Limitations of the body. Boundary, it places spatial limitation, but all the other limitations that we have, I'm not beautiful, I'm not this, I'm not that, we have all those complexes, but they all are belong to the body, but none of those limitations are there for the Atman, for the consciousness. And the fourth point says, Atman continues to exist even after the destruction of the body. Some people say once the body dies, the consciousness also dies. No. But the consciousness exists even after the body dies. You are talking to another person through the phone, and when the other person, cuts the phone, the other person doesn't cease to exist. They only, cuts a medium through which you can transact. In the same way, body is the medium through which Atman can transact with this universe. If the body is not there, it does not mean Atman doesn't exist. It only means the medium of transaction does not exist. And the remaining Atman, Atman without body is not available for transaction, not because of the absence of the Atman, but because of the absence of a medium for transaction. Okay, until this, I understand. But the next step is a very crucial step, and that is the phalan of attending Vivekachudamani class. We are all talking about Atman as a separate entity. But what we have to do, Atman is my real self. That is what I need to understand, right? So previously we replaced the word gold with Atman. And now we have to replace the word Atman with I. My real nature. Atman is not something else. I am the Atman. I'm going to put I in within the double quotes because normally when we say I, we refer to this body. But here when I say I within the double quote, it is my own nature. So now let me replace the word Atman by the word I. Then what do we get? I am not part, product, or property of my body. I am an independent entity that pervade and enliven my body. I am not limited by the boundaries or limitations of my body. I continue to exist even after the destruction of my body. The remaining I am not available for transaction, not because of my absence, but because of the absence of a medium, that is body. This is what is moksha. Understanding these points and bringing these points in day-to-day transaction. All the shokam that we have is because I consider myself to be this body, and in order to make this body go, I need certain pleasures. In order to protect this body, I need some security. And we all continue to work for that, thinking I am my body. But I am not a product of the body. I am not the part of the body. I am not the property of the body. Whatever happens to my body does not affect me because I am an independent entity that pervade and enliven my body. I have a lot of limitations. We think I am short, I am dark, I don't have enough brain, I am not successful. Oh, I have all those diseases. That's what we normally think. But these are the limitations of what? Not of my own nature, not of the Atman, but these are all the limitations of my body. But I am not limited. I am not limited by the boundaries of the body. Just because a ring is broken does not mean the value of the gold has to go down. No, the value of the gold remains exactly the same. If you are selling a broken ring or if you are selling an original, a ring in a good condition, they both are going to cost you, they both are going to give you the same amount of money because a jeweler is going to weigh how much gold is present in the ring. He is not going to say whether the ring is in a good condition or a bad condition. In the same way, all those limitations that I think I have, they are the limitations of what? My body, but not my own limitations. And everybody have this bhayam, what is going to happen to me after my death. I don't want to die because I have all those love, near and dear people. But what does Shastra say? I I never cease to exist. I continue to exist even after the destruction of the body. After all, my body is only a medium of transaction. If this cell phone goes, I can get a new cell phone. In the same way, if this body goes, I can get a new body. Vasamsi jirnani yatha vihaya anyani sanyani naropara. Anyani sanyani sanyati naroparani, says Krishna in Bhagavad Gita. Just like how a person changes a worn out shirt, in the same way, if the body is worn out, Atman changes it, just like a person who changes the shirt. Says Krishna in Bhagavad Gita, the remaining I without my body, am not available for transaction, not because I cease to exist, but because of the absence of a transacting medium. So this we have to understand. So I'm going to talk about, the Acharya is going to talk about Atman, for several shlokas. In each and every shloka, whenever he says Atman, we have to replace that word by what? I. Whatever the properties, whatever the points, whatever the definition he gives for Atman, all those are my own definition. That is my real nature. That is what we need to understand. So this is the first thing that he says regarding Atman, that is Shariratraya Rahitaha. The second, A2, here I'm giving A1, A2, A3 number. A1 for Atman 1, Atman 2, Atman 3. Point regarding Atman 1, point regarding Atman 2. So what is A2? Atman is the eternal observer and never observed. Replace the word Atman with I. I am an eternal observer and I can never be observed. I never come under the, I never come under as an object. I am ever the subject, says Shastra. That is what previously we saw. Previously we thought that the external objects are the observed and my I is an observer. But later we thought it through, and then our I is not an observer. We say our manas is the observer. Even our I means what? The physical body is an observed entity. It is a drishyam. And later we come to know, after Shastric studies, even my manas is also a drishyam. Who am the observer? Who is the observer? The Atman. I am the real observer. And I always be the observer. I never become observed. I never become the object, but I am an eternal subject, says Shastra. Here we have to see the shloka. Yam pashyati swayam sarvam, yam na pashyati kaschana, yaschetayati buddhyati, natadyam chetayatyayam, says Acharya in Vivekachudamani. Yaha, that person, that entity, pashyati, sees, swayam sarvam, that entity which sees everything around me. Yamna pashyati kaschana, that entity which can never be seen by anything else. That entity which is always a drik. Drik, drishyam. Drishyam, object. Drik, subject. Drishyam, observed. Drik, observer. Yah pashyati sarvam swayam. That thing which observes the entire things, entire universe that is surrounding me. Yamna pashyati kaschana, that can never be observed. Yas chetayati buddhyati, that because of which even my buddhi gets illumined. Previously, I thought I am my buddhi, but later I come to my understanding that even my buddhi is an object. That object, because of which even my buddhi comes to know as an object, na tadyam na tadyam chetayatyayam, that which can never be illumined, that which illumines everything and can never be illumined by some other object, is the Atman, is my own real nature. Here again, replace the word Atman by I. I see everything. I can never be seen. I illumine the intellect, but I can never be illumined by anything else. That is my own nature. All these shlokas are worthy of meditating, worthy of doing nididhyasanam. So this is the second thing that Acharya says about Atman, my own real nature. What I thought was, since we all know Lalita Sahasranamam by heart, or at least we are all, familiar with Lalita Sahasranamam, I thought we will give you relevant names from Lalita Sahasranamam. For the first point, that is for the Sharira Traya Vilakshanam, the namas are Vishwarupa Jagarani, Swapanti Tairasatmika, Supta Pragnatmika, Turya Sarvavastha Vivarjita. The last two names, Turiya Sarvavastha Vivarjita, is my real own, is my own real nature. And for the second point, that is the eternal observer, never be observed, the several names are there. Several names are there in Sahasranamam. I have only picked a handful of names. Visvashakshini, Sakshini, witness. Visvashakshini, witness of the entire universe, observer of the entire universe. And what? Sakshi Varjita, that which can never be witnessed, that which can never be observed, that is Sakshi Varjita. Adrishya, which can never be seen. Vedya Varjita, Vedya means to know, that which can never be known, because even to know something will make that as an object. I know a cell phone means I am the subject, the cell phone is the object, the mental process of knowing happens. So even to know something will bring them to the level of an object. That is why Atma, I, Ambal is called as Vedya Varjita, that which can never be known. Manovacham Agochara. Mano Vacham Agochara, which can never be talked about. Mano Agochara, Manaha Agochara, which can never even be thought of, because even if we think of something, that becomes as an object, but Atman can never be thinked about. Atman is the eternal thinker. That is what we need to understand. So these are the namas in Lalita Sahasranamam relevant to the point that we just saw. So in next thing, Acharya is going to he is going to talk about another feature, another point about Atman, which is all pervading, because this is very confusing for a lot of people. Previously, I said that if Atman enlivens and witness the body, there are several bodies. So obviously the next question is, are there many Atmans? My body has got one Atman. The person sitting in front of me has got another Atman. The dog that goes around, that have another Atman. That question normally comes, right? So what is the Shastra's answer? Because this has confused a lot of people. That is why Adi Shankara said, hey, I'm going to put a separate shloka in order to clear this point. The answer is no. There is only one Atman that enlivens all the body. Okay, first 2 points I totally understood. Second points I'm complete. Third point I'm completely lost. I can hear you guys. Can you give me an example? There is a best example. We all have that experience. What is that experience? In dream. In dream, we saw many objects. We saw several persons. There is only one dream I. There is a dream tiger. There is a dream husband. There is a dream wife. Imagine who is the Atman behind the dream husband? Who is the Atman behind the dream tiger which chases the dream I? The Atman behind the dream tiger and the Atman behind the dream I, they all are the same because it's all chitta vritti. Everything that we see in the dream, it is only a modification of our own mind. So there is only one mind which is present behind the dream tiger. There is only one mind which is present in the dream I who runs away from the dream tiger. Why do we think there is dream I? Because we have dehabhimanam, because we identify with our dream body. That is why we have the distinction of dream I and the dream tiger. But in reality, there is only one principle that enlivens both the dream I and the dream tiger. What is that thing? That thing is manas. It is only my mind which enlivens both the dream I and the dream tiger. In the same way, there is only one Atman which enlivens all the body. In Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, Kshetrajnam chapi mam vitti sarvakshetreshu bharata. Kshetram means body. Kshetrajnam is Atman. Kshetrajnam chapi mam vitti. Hey Arjuna, know myself to be the Kshetrajna. Know myself to be the Atman, Kshetrajnam chapi mam vitti, sarva kshetreshu bharata, who is present in all the bodies. There is only one Atman, that Atman is present in all the bodies. There is only one I am present in all the bodies, but I only identify with what I think as my body because of misidentification. In dream I am the dreamer and I am the dream tiger. But I want to protect the dream I from the dream tiger because of our identification with the dream body. We have to lose that identification. That is what Vedanta is all about. We identify with our current body. That is why we think all the other things are different from me. But in fact, just like how all the dream people are illuminated by my own mind, in the same way, there is only one Atman which enlivens everything in this universe. Okay, can you give me another example? There is only one Wi-Fi signal that can be tapped by many devices. Okay, if I say Wi-Fi signal, everybody can understand. There is only one signal. There is only one router in my house. But I'm using my cell phone. I'm using my computer. I'm using my iPad. I'm using my Apple Watch. Everything, I'm just getting signal from that one router. The signal is same, but devices are many. In the same way, the Atman is same, but bodies are many. When I work with my computer, I identify with my computer. When I work with my cell phone, I identify with my cell phone. But all the things are powered by what? Only one Wi-Fi signal. In the same way, there is only one Atman which enlivens all the bodies. Okay, can you give me another example? Yes, I can give you another example. Just go out, not now, after the class, go out, For all the people who are present in the US, go out, look above, look at the sky. We see moon, we see many stars, we see many planets. Let us leave stars out for now. There is a moon, there are lots of planets. I'm also showing a picture here. Here I have moon, very, very faint moon. We have Venus, we have Mars, we have Saturn, we have Jupiter. What about the light that comes from moon, Venus, Mars, Saturn, and Jupiter? The light that gets reflected on the moon, what is the original source? It is only the sun. It is only the sun's light that gets reflected from the moon. It is only the sun's light that gets reflected at the Venus. Whatever the thing that we see as Venus, we are only seeing a light. And Venus does not have any light. It only reflects the sun's light. There is only, Mars does not have a light source of its own. It only reflects sun's light. Saturn or Jupiter does not have a light of its own. It only reflects the sunlight. So, as though we saw 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, there are 5 lights here, even though these 5 lights look different, but what is that original light source? The original light source is just one sun, but the same sunlight gets reflected in the moon and it looks like a moon. The same sunlight gets reflected in the Venus, it looks like Venus. The same sunlight gets reflected in the Mars, and when it gets reflected in the Mars, it has a reddish tinge to it, and we say, hey, that is Mars. Hey, this is Saturn. Hey, this is Jupiter. But what is the original source of the light? The original source of the light is only one sun. But there are several reflecting mediums that reflect the original light source. In the same way, all of our bodies are just reflecting mediums. All of our bodies are reflecting mediums. And what is the original source of light? That is the Atman. I am the original Atman. I am the original source of light who gets reflected in several bodies. I within the double quote, my real nature, original I. I am that original sunlight who gets reflected in moon, Venus, Mars, Saturn, and Jupiter. I am that original light. I am that original consciousness who gets reflected in the body of my wife who sits in front of me, in the body of my parents who are present in India, and in all of your bodies who are sitting and listening to the lecture. In fact, there is only one I. Because of the difference in reflecting medium, because of our abhimana with different reflecting medium, we think there are many bodies, we think there are many Atmans, but in original, there is only one Atman. He only gets reflected in different bodies. We are going to expound on this point a lot because this is a very important point and this point is very, very difficult to understand. Let me finish this class today, but even in the next class, we are going to see this point in elaborate detail. Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. I hope.
Thank you.
Thank you, Shamji.
Nice enough.
Thank you,
Thank you, Shamji.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Shamji.
Thank you, Shamji.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Thank you.